What's up, everybody? This is episode 47 of Hoops Talk with Dave's Joint. For everybody that's been supporting thus far, shout outs to you guys. And check for those who haven't seen it, check it out on YouTube, Facebook, and IGTV. But without further ado, we have a very, very special guest here today. He's from White Plains, New York, went to Trinity Catholic High School in Stamford, Connecticut, played 4 years of college basketball at Holy Cross, played professional basketball overseas. I give you Mr. Torey Thomas. Torey, thank you for coming on to share your story.
No, definitely, man. Thanks for having me.
Indeed. So we're going to start it off. When did basketball start for you?
I would say around like 9 years old. That was when I first really started going to the park up the street from my house on 73rd where I lived on Ferris Avenue, walked up the street, started really enjoying it and going there. So 9, 10 years old, man, I felt the passion for it.
Indeed. So talk about growing up in White Plains and what's the basketball culture like over there?
The basketball culture is pretty solid over here because we have a park that most people play ball, but I also run my own program, Go Torey All-Stars. And we've been breeding kids for years since, after I came up, we saw that was a real big opportunity, that went through me. And now I'm trying to pass that same thing on. So we got a big culture. We got good tournaments up there, good basketball in our area.
Absolutely. So talk about, what were some of your favorite tournaments to play in as a youth?
Well, yeah, see, as a youth, it was funny because, we didn't go many places as White Plains. I stayed around Westchester as a youth. Then I was able to go to national tournaments in Green Bay, Wisconsin when we was 11 years old. We won that. It was called Winbrook Pride, Green Bay, Wisconsin. We're in the Slam Magazine 1996 issue with Grant Hill and Jason Kidd on the cover. They were rookies of the years. So I've seen some. So I went totally from being in White Plains, practicing White Plains, and going to a national tournament. So it's something different that most people might not really understand. Then we hit the circuit with the city and all that, later. But first tournament was me going out there,
So talk about any local tournaments that you like playing in.
So I mean, as an adult, I love playing in Hoops in the Sun.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, Rucker Park, Dykeman. Those three for sure. Tri-State at the time was great. So I would say Rucker, Tri-State, Dykeman, Hoops in the Sun. Those are major. Them four for sure always stand out. Then we have our own tournament on Ferris and White Plains. Those tournaments, it speaks for themselves. Every tournament that I name has a uniqueness of it, different elements to it, different crowds to it. And that New York City basketball is an animal, it's a beast. You definitely have to come with it.
So in choosing high school, you had Stepinac, you had White Plains. What made you decide to make that trip all the way out to Stamford to go to Trinity Catholic?
I was playing basketball in 8th grade for Don Bosco, which was in Portchester. It's Don Bosco Music. It's it was a league that we played against different cities. It was a big league for us, and we played 62 games. So I got a chance to really get acquainted with a guy named Jimmy O'Leary and Scott Savage, two guys that went to Trinity. They were from Stamford, and they were going to Trinity no matter what. So we became friends, and they just said, their family said, maybe you should go check the test. Go take the test. So I'm like, okay, what's the test? All right. So I ended up, my coach, Bill Walsh, who's not related to Mike Walsh, who's the coach of Trinity. Bill Walsh, who's my coach in 8th grade, took me up to the test. I passed the entrance exam, and I made a decision to say, you know what, I want to make a change. I want something different. And that's what made me say, you know what, a big sacrifice like this could go a long way in my life.
How good was, White Plains and Stepinac back then, even though you decided to make that trip up to Stamford?
All right, so White Plains was solid. I'm not going to take no away, but White Plains was always solid. I just didn't feel like I had the elements for me. And Stepanak was good too, and you know, I don't know if they was as hot. They was really like looking at me, recruiting me. It wasn't like a recruiting situation. White Plains, you know, probably felt like I was just gonna fall right in line and go there. But Trinity was something that was destiny for me. It was a destined situation to go there and be part of something special, make my mark, and still being able to, you know, keep going. And I utilized my opportunity to go to Trinity, get a great education, and play basketball 4 years, you know, on varsity, you know, starting from the end of my freshman year all the way to a senior year. You can't script it out much better. So, yeah, I won't say that White Plains was bad or not right, but or Stepanak was good. They were very good schools, but not the fit that I was looking for.
So let's talk about, you know, your 4 years at Trinity Catholic. Like, how was it making that trip every morning?
Yeah, that was a big thing, man. That was a sacrifice. Waking up in the morning, getting some breakfast from my mom, then rushing down to the bus. Right down the street was a bus station, so I used to maybe jog and run it. Usually was running late. Get on the I bus, took you to Stamford. Then from Stamford train station, I would get another shuttle bus to take me across town into Trinity. So that you know, I really looked at it as an opportunity. I felt like I was going to work every day. So it was like I always had a mentality that this all was going to be great, paying off. I never looked at it like, oh, I got to get up, I got to do this. I never sulked about it. It was like I wanted to make the decision. Nobody made this decision for me. So I made the decision at 8th grade, 13, 14 years old, and said, this is what we're doing. This is what I'm doing. My mom, everybody supported me. They never, ever once said, well, you should do this, you should do this. Or nobody doubted in my circle that it's going to be hard, you can't do it. It was always about the opportunity. So that trip, I think, made me a stronger man, because it made me know that you go get it, man. Nobody's giving you nothing. So take this trip, get to school, do your work, play ball, enjoy, meet the new people. And that was part of my life.
Indeed. So talk about, you know, the basketball culture out in Connecticut in different, like, and how different it was from New York.
Yeah. Well, basketball, most people might not know that, but Connecticut has a solid basketball league, and the Fairfield County Interscholastic Athletic Conference, which is the FCIAC, is a strong league. People don't understand that. So when we were playing, you played against.
All right, go.
All right.
So yeah, you were saying?
Yes. Question, I got to get that. I was over here.
You were talking about the FCIAC.
Oh, the FCIAC, great league. And I said, what I was saying is the FCIAC is a very big league, and we played all the way teams from starting at Greenwich all the way up to the Bridgeport teams, which got Warren, Harding, Bassick, and Central, St. Joe's, Fairfield County, Fairfield Ward. Yo, the FCIAC is the only time I've ever seen a conference with like 18 teams in it. You only play your team one time. So that means there's no back and forth. There's no 2 games. So when you get them 1 year on your freshman year, we see them home away on the sophomore year, back home junior, away on 1 game, and then you go into the FCIAC playoffs. Then what I loved about Connecticut is your conference was your conference. So you played your conference tournament, but it had nothing to do with your state seeding. So you had a whole new state seeding, and I love that, because your conference might be the strong conference. What if you get knocked out of the conference, but you're still good enough to go to the states and play against other state teams? I love how they seeded it up. So you could win your conference, go there. So we had a city championship where we played West Hill and Stamford High. To play, you play them both, and whoever wins both games, you win the city championship. So I thought Connecticut was exciting. The only thing they should change is having a shot clock. They don't have a shot clock at Connecticut basketball. So that's outdated against the times. So I would say that they could change that. But playing ball there, a lot of guys I know went to my school, like Rashamel Jones, guys, Sharon Wilson went to American and then AIC. You know, we had guys that went to a lot of schools. So you got to think, like, we had a very solid program for sure. So I'm very happy with my choice. And Connecticut basketball has that, especially when you get up further to where you playing Bridgeport teams, New Haven teams, and all that, and the state champ. Yo, it's good. But FCIAC is a solid group.
Yeah, shout outs to the FCIAC. We actually had two of your you're actually the third guest on this podcast that went to Trinity Catholic. The other two were Rashamel Jones. He just came like we just put out his interview, I think it was last week, and Tevin Baskin. His interview came out today.
Right. And Tevin, shout out for Corey. Can't forget about Tevin Baskin, who's like my little brother. Tevin, it's so special because Tevin, you know, was an outstanding player and was getting recruited by everybody. Had a few lapses in his situation, but then he went to Quinnipiac, then Appalachian State. But he called me to come to his press conference to be there. That's like, you know, volumes. I love stuff.
Oh,
like
the day that he was supposed to announce his commitment to Quinnipiac.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I came up for that. I was there. So that's special to me. So Tevin is, you know, a great guy. Now he's coaching. Rashamel's coaching. They're doing great things. We have a good alumni support system as well.
So talk about, you know, the 4 years playing wise and educational wise.
Yeah,
at Trinity.
Definitely. Yeah, playing wise, like come in, you know what I mean, don't really know what to expect. I'm a hard work. I'm playing. Connecticut has a rule where you could play freshman, JV, and varsity. So you could play a game at 3:30, 5:15, and 7. I did that before.
Wow.
3:30, 5:15, and 7. I played all 3 games. They could attest. You could call Coach Mike Walsh. So as they saw that I was getting better, they took out my JV game. My freshman coach made sure I played freshman with my freshman players because he came in with me. We didn't lose a game. We might not have lost. We might not even lost the game no more than 15, 20 points. Like we won every game in freshman like that. So it was a great experience. But I learned a lot from Coach Bill Walsh. But then I sat out my JV game with Coach Vizzari. They wanted me to rest, get something to eat, relax. Then I played the 7 o'clock game in varsity. I wasn't starting. I was coming off the bench in the beginning. Then like midway or 3/4 way through the year, Coach Walsh inserted me into the varsity lineup when freshman was over. And then we ended up running the table and getting to the state finals and losing in overtime my freshman year. So that's year 1. Come back summer working hard. Now I'm the starting point guard all year. We go 24-3 and win the city, FCIAC, and state title my sophomore year. So that's the whole, and I might have hit like 3 game winners as a sophomore. Junior year, we come back. I'm back again. We win 24-3 again, but we don't win nothing. We lose in the finals again. So this is 3 years in a row final. We lose at the buzzer my junior year in the finals. Come back senior year and win 26 games, 26-1. The funny thing is the only one game we lost was at the county center for the slam dunk against White Plains.
Wow.
And we lost that game. We won 1, beat Yorktown, lost to White Plains by like 4 points, then won 25 straight, won the city, FCIAC, and state again. So I got 2 state championships out of 4. I went all 4 years as a player at Trinity. So it's well decorated, well documented. Ended up getting 2003 Player of the Year at Connecticut. So, you know what I mean? And it was more like, I think it wasn't like a statistical thing. They just saw my impact for all those years. And what we did is nothing but winning. I lost 9 games as a starter.
Wow.
In my career.
Crazy.
I think like 80-something and 9 or something like that.
That's crazy, man.
Yeah, so like winning was really all part of my DNA. Like that's all that it mattered. So I wasn't like a big scorer. And of course I assisted well, played great defense, rebounded at a better rate than most people, but scoring. So I wasn't like looked at as a big time guard. I was a solid guard. So when that happens, you get, recruited as what they looking at. And like I said, a match made in heaven when I was able to get Holy Cross on my back.
So, unfortunately, Trinity Catholic recently closed. Like, how tough was that for you?
Yeah, very tough. You never want to see the alma mater go down like this. And it's not just like financial. It might be more how the building was being operated. So you got to remember that there's so many things, so many interchangeable parts that nobody knows behind the scene that they're looking like, oh, Trinity went under. But I think that if we got it together, maybe free of the archdiocese, Trinity could open up tomorrow. Stamford needs Trinity. Trinity is the place to be.
Right.
Trinity can bridge a lot of gaps. There's a lot of kids that aren't getting a great education because it's a lot of chaos up there. And also, it's a lot of kids that are in Stamford. Stamford is humongous. It might have 140, 50,000 people. People don't know that because they think Connecticut is small. They have big cities in Connecticut. So it's very tough to hear this. But I'm praying one day, and I want to be part of the solution to bring it back. Even if it's not Trinity Catholic, it could be a Trinity, the charter school. It could be like the Patrick School, how St. Patrick's one, and they got the Patrick School. I would like to see it go like that.
Right. Like, you know, it's crazy that charter school education is on the come up now. You know, a lot of Catholic schools are closing. And what's happening is to those charter schools, like, and this is the same thing in New York, that a lot of the old Catholic schools are being bought up by charter school institutions.
Yes.
And like a lot of guys that went to Rice, they're trying to bring back Rice High School as well.
Right.
So that's, you know, that would be a big thing if Trinity Catholic, you know, if a lot of these old schools, if they could be like brought back, you know, revived again, but as either independent institutions or charter schools, like one of the two would be wonderful.
I would think that's the best scenario for this.
Absolutely.
Right.
So what was your recruitment like in high school?
Recruitment was a little different for me. I didn't have many schools coming after me. I think University of Hartford was on me the toughest with Larry Harrison. I got to shout out Larry Harrison because he was a real coach. He was real. I just didn't see myself going to University of Hartford. I didn't really like the school atmosphere when I went on my visit. He was excellent. The players were excellent. I just thought that I could go in a better situation, especially more academic as well, something that was going to set me up. So I ended up going to Lafayette as well. They weren't giving like full of scholarships at the time, but they were really high on me. Also went down to Loyola, Maryland, which is a good school. But at that time, the basketball was bad. They were in the MAC. They were 1 in 26 the year before. I was looked at by Towson as well. And then later, a call was made to one of the guys that I used to play basketball with, very close family friend named Kyle Petrelli. His father made a call from his wife, which is her brother. Her brother went to Holy Cross, and they said to call Ralph Willard up. Just said, come check this kid out. This kid it really influenced my son. He's a good kid. And you should, you know, check him out, see if he could be a fit for your program. Coach Willard never seen me play. Came down to Trinity. I was working out, did a little workout for him. And he took me into a classroom. We talked for about an hour, and he offered me a scholarship right then and there. And it wasn't even about basketball. So that's how it was. The scholarship wasn't even about basketball. He just felt like I was a good enough, tough enough kid to play for his program and help the team win. You know what I mean? And that's when it came like that. Like, that's like remarkable. It wasn't basketball related. So I earned everything that I got there because it wasn't like he was giving me a starting lineup. I didn't start till my sophomore year. And I learned a lot freshman year because I played under Jave Meade, which is one of the best point guards at Holy Cross out of Queens. And he taught me like little stuff. Just, he was very quiet, but he was a leader, and he made sure he told me little things, and you know, he made me, you know, understand pace, tempo, and things of that nature. So I just took whatever I could learn, and I just kept going. So my recruitment was very light, actually. I could have did prep because they were telling me, but my grades were good enough to not have to do prep. So I wanted to continue my education and continue playing ball. Prep is a tough situation, but it's good for people when they need an extra boost. And I think only boost that I needed to show was how good of a player I was on a prep year.
Right.
But since I had a Holy Cross, once I visited, heard so many great things about it, and playing under a coach like Ralph Willard, that made me say, you know what? I'm ready to take this next step, this next challenge, and I don't want to prolong myself. You know what I mean? I had to, you know, I got enough on the SAT. My grade point now is probably like 3.7. I did enough. You know, I did my work. I did my work well. I worked hard, and I had to get that. When you say $50,000 a year, at that time it was $200,000 a full scholarship, not 1 year renewable. 4 years on the table. My mom didn't have to worry about no money. I was happy.
Wow.
She was happy. My family were happy, and it was a great decision.
Before we get into Holy Cross, So being that you were a major standout in Connecticut, and you had great grades, like didn't schools like Yale, UConn,
Yes, so
big
well,
schools try to
UConn
look
didn't
at
talk.
you?
UConn, I would say is more like a basketball factor. So grades, I could get in UConn for sure, but basketball, they had Marcus Williams, the guys like that, 5-star recruits. So, I wasn't a 5-star recruit, so that's something different. But I did get a call from Princeton. They were interested, which is unheard of for people to even go to those schools. At that time, they were the biggest one going on right then. And at my day, we're talking about 2003 when I was coming out of school. So Princeton, and like I told you, Lafayette, Loyola, those are good schools because they're right under the Ivy League protocol. So
Right.
yes, I was able to. Now, I possibly, if they would have kept pursuing it and all that, I might have had enough to get into to those schools, yes.
So let's get into Holy Cross. Like, talk about your 4 years at Holy Cross.
Yeah, so, first, Holy Cross really made me, understand what being an adult is about because it's such a different atmosphere. It's a small school, only 2,700 kids,
Wow.
but it had a big school feel because our basketball program was good. We were winning, we were going to the NCAA tournament. So, my years there, my freshman year was a tough year. We lost about 8 games due to about 1 or 2 points from the free throw line. We had a free throw issue. So then, boom, come as a sophomore year, we won 25 games going to the NIT because we lost our finals by 2 or 4 points to Bucknell, which is a powerhouse in our league. And they let us go to NIT, which was unbelievable because we went out to Notre Dame, South Bend, Indiana, and beat them on their court. So that's one of the big wins in my career. Then junior year, we won 20 more games, lost in the finals. I ended up getting injured in the finals, had to do surgery. So I went to surgery in the summer right after the season. Come back senior year, win 25 games, get Defensive Player of the Year, all conference, go to the NCAA tournament. We win the Patriot League, finally beat Bucknell. So it was a great career, a lot of wins, a lot of lessons. And my life outside the court was great because I was almost labeled like the mayor up there. So I would talk to and deal with anybody, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
Holy Cross didn't have dorms specifically for athletes. So we were with the regular population. So if they see me come after practice, it wasn't like I went to the dorms to be with my basketball guys. I went to the dorms with the regular population, regular students, and that makes a difference. They get a chance to see you for who you are.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Now talk about, the Patriot League and what the comp was like there.
The Patriot League was tough because the competition is good because everybody's really smart and they scout well. You know what I mean? So you talking about going against people that know your exact moves. You know what I mean? Knowing where you're going, their tendencies, live film sessions, and you just slugged it out in the Patriot League. So we always had to go up against a tough Bucknell team, tough Lehigh, American. Then you got sleepers like Army and Navy who are in great shape, play basketball. And then you got now, so when I was there, so yes, Lehigh, Lafayette, Bucknell, all of those teams are high IQ teams. That's what people don't understand. Sometimes it's not about how good people are, because you got talent, but then can you outsmart them? Can you switch defenses? Can you make them think? That's what the Patriot League was about.
So talk about, even though you guys lost to Southern Illinois in the NCAA tournament your senior year, talk about the experience of playing in the NCAA tournament.
Yeah, well, it was unbelievable because we was in the Columbus, Ohio region. So we fly out to Columbus, a couple of days before we go on a shoot around, but you going and you got police escorts taking you from the hotel to the shoot around, from the shoot around back to the hotel. You're not stopping at no lights. You're not knowing. That's something different for us. We what is going on here? What is this?
Like one
so that
big
was pretty
parade.
cool. You know what I mean? It was just like a thing. It was an extreme situation. You know what I mean? So, but in that game, it was a slugfest because both teams are great defensively. We're great defensively. Southern Illinois, they just had a guy that kind of exploded and maybe hit us for 14 points when he usually get 4. You know what I mean? So that matters in the tournament. And, you know what I mean? Our main player was just our main scorer had a tough game that game. Keith Simmons, who's, my teammate, right? So with him, he would have balanced it out. That game was a 5-10-point game. They ended up beating us by 10, but that was a tough game. And it was just a defensive slugfest. And that was a good team, Southern Illinois, but we were right there, I felt.
So after college, you went on a long odyssey overseas.
Yeah.
Let me just read off a little bit of your accolades.
Yeah.
Dutch Basketball League All-Star, assist leader, steals leader, Russian League All-Symbolic Second Team, Greek League steals leader, Polish Cup winner, Macedonian Super Cup MVP, and LNB Pro B Championship in France. Like, talk about, what it was like playing overseas all these years.
Right. So I just completed, because of COVID, my 13th season overseas. I'm still wanting to play, so I'm still ready to play. So 13 years, starting out in 2007 when I graduated from Holy Cross. I had about 4 workouts with NBA teams: New York Knicks, New Jersey Nets, at the time was New Jersey, Boston Celtics, and Utah Jazz, pre-draft workout. Once I didn't get drafted, I went overseas. Started out in Turkey, Sweden, France, then the Netherlands for 2 years, then Poland, then Russia, then Serbia, then Italy, Turkey again, France. It's just long trips. And in the middle of that, I went to Dominican Republic, Venezuela, won the championship in France, 2018. So I got a lot of history, long list of things that have been accomplished there. And I definitely could say that it came from just being able to withstand being overseas alone. That's the first thing, the homesickness you got to get over. Then there's basketball. First, who are you? What are you trying to accomplish? Do you want this dream? Do you want to play ball for a living? Do you want to be able to help your family? Then it's, how do you make this work? And how consistent are you going to be? How much do you work? That's why I'm able to have some accolades, because I was consistent. I wanted to do this. I made my sacrifices. I worked hard. And then, when you read off that, it just makes me smile. It's not that I wanted to do that. It was more that I had to do it to want to be a professional. It wasn't like, I wanted these accolades. Accolades come when you really pour your heart into it and compassion into your sport or whatever you do in life.
Absolutely, man. So let's talk about what was your favorite country to play in?
Man, that's a hard one, but because I did some great things off the court in Poland, I helped orphanages and things like that. That's where it's a special place for me. Poland was special. I've been there a few stints. Each time we went to the finals with the teams that weren't really supposed to go to the finals. I got MVP one year in Poland. So Poland, I would say, overall, because of all the things that happened outside the court plus on the court. But playing in Greece, playing in Italy, just living in these countries, seeing the different architecture, seeing the different, buildings and cathedrals and monuments, and learning your history, learning what they're about, learning what I'm about, that museums, foods. I can't tell you how much experience I have, and being able to talk to different people, different races, understanding the difference between French, Italian, Irish, Dutch, Russians. Everybody's not boxed in, letting them know that all Black people are not one way. Black people are educated. Black people hold themselves to a high standard. Black people care about people, are compassionate, and you know what I'm saying? And could be your friend, won't try to get over on you, whatever they think people are doing. Black people aren't criminals. So you get both ways. You let them feel who you are, and you understand them, and you develop bonds and relationships with people that you would have never thought.
Indeed. So what would you tell, players that probably just got out of college, and probably, would love to play overseas? Like, what advice would you give to them?
Yeah, the first thing is, don't let nobody crush your dream. So I will let people know that it's going to be hard, but don't let nobody crush your dream. So first, set up and have your resume ready, just like you would go on a job interview. Who are you? I'm Torey Thomas, 5'10" point guard at a Holy Cross, 180 pounds. I have this status. I have this. I have these accolades. That needs to be written out. I have to have game film. My best games that I play, have that readily available and have highlight tape. Then you ship that off to your, get an agent. You know what I mean? We can work on that. And then you go and still steady, be ready, and keep your mind clear. You know what I mean? Don't listen to just anything out there, and don't get scammed.
Indeed. That's a lot. That's happening to a lot of people these days, especially these foreign countries.
That's right. That's right. Where they telling you, send me some money and I'll send you a plane ticket or whatever. It doesn't work like that. Know the rules first.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know?
So outside of the basketball, so you started up an AAU program called Go Torey All-Stars. Talk about it a little bit.
Right. So that's with Jeffrey Lee and Lawrence White. We've had it for years. It was called New York Blaze at the time. Years ago now, they decided to, call it that. I didn't decide to call it that. That wasn't from me. That was from Jeffrey Lee, Jay Lee, my Coach Lee, who was one of my closest friends. He said, you know what? We're going to market this. You're the person that's been handling a lot of things behind the scenes. Most people making sure the kids are good, paying for things, we're going to do it right so all the parents can really identify who is Torey Thomas, because who I am is who I am on Instagram, whether it's on Instagram or when they see me in real life, I'm that Torey. It's not, I don't put up a facade. I really do this. I really help the kids. I really have a real passion for what I do. I want to see kids get off the street, go to college, make something. So even if it's not about basketball, giving them an outlet, an opportunity to do something. So this is special to me, and we're working through the COVID situation to be able to play a few tournaments this summer, get it going. And the program has been its best this year after COVID than it's been, with parent participation, understanding, letting us know what's going on, being able to pay the fees, because we do need some participation with fees because money's a big thing. I've been paying a lot of things all these years. The participation and the help only goes so many more miles.
I feel you on that, man.
Right?
Like, funding things is a very difficult thing. Very, you know what I'm saying? Like, you want people to support the business, but then again, sometimes you can see that people have ulterior motives for themselves, or they feel slighted when, you know what I'm saying, when you tell them that they have to pay for something. But, sometimes you got to put in.
You have to put in. And this is your kid. So invest in your kid. We're investing 10 times more than a $500 check or a $1,000 check, which is not going to us to make money. It's going to all the expenses that are incurring. Uniforms, tournaments, travel, things of that. Food. This is what it's about.
Right.
Right?
So, how long has the Blaze / Go Torey All-Stars been in existence?
Oh, man. Since for me, because when they brought me on board, I was a sophomore in college, 2005, when I came home. And I was able to say, wow, I've been on ESPN like 3 games in a row that year, and the kids around the way saw me on TV on ESPN. Back then, ESPN on ESPN was everything. Right now, people go on ESPN, it's the world around. Before, you couldn't get on ESPN, especially they're like Holy Cross on ESPN. They playing, well, now they playing the championship. They playing against Notre Dame and stuff. That was like something, and I was like, I have to utilize what I have to show them that they could do it too. And then we just formed it. It took off, and we're still doing it to this day.
So, I heard that you also had a tournament in White Plains.
That's right.
Talk about the tournament.
So I sponsor a tournament, like it's a league really. It's called the White Plains Rec, unless we combine where it's the Go Torey and White Plains Rec. I sponsor the shirts for them. Come down, give some kids some encouragement, try to get that going. So that was been the last few years. And now we have our own tournament as well, which was the New York Blaze Invitational, which is still probably going to be New York Blaze Invitational, or it might be Go Torey All-Stars Invitational if we switch it up. But that's a tournament with usually the top prospects in high school. They come down and play a 3-day weekend. We've been doing it, and it's been amazing. Right on White Plains on Ferris Avenue.
Oh, Gardella Park.
Gardella Park, that's where I'm from. Yeah.
Yeah, man. I was there last summer for – what's the name of
for the Brook Classic.
Yeah, that.
Yeah, I know.
I hope they bring it.
And Justin Lee is my guy. That's the one. He went to Colgate. He's from White Plains too.
That's
and
right.
Consulted with me. We told him to bring it right to Gardella Park, so because that's the best park in White Plains to meet Westchester. Great atmosphere. You was there. You see what time it is.
Yeah,
that's how we want to run things. I grew up right there at that park.
So I hope that they can have it this year, and if not, then
we're gonna have to wait for next year.
Yeah. So this is one of the questions that I love to ask all of my guests. So if you could go back in the time machine to 1999, what would you tell Torey at 14 as he's making his high school choice?
Yeah, keep going, man. I would say do that again. Ride it till the wheels fall off. Enjoy every bit about that decision that you made, because you, my friend, made the right decision.
Final question: what's next in the future for Torey Thomas, the Go Torey All-Stars?
So Go Torey All-Stars is really building brand. I just got a 20-passenger bus that I'm trying to paint up, have Go Torey All-Stars. Yes, we have that in our possession. So we'll be one of the first programs to come in with a bus, like a little mini bus that we have for 20 passengers. I want to get maybe another one of those, get our tournaments going, really go. I want to play a few more years professionally as I still could play, you know, my body holding up, and I really want to enjoy when I'm ready to play out. So I got a few different things, and I do have, you know, some business opportunities that I'm trying to strike as they're hot right now with my car dealership, and I really want to open up my own, like, community center. So it's a few things I'm looking forward to, try to put them in motion, and, you know, I'm speaking into existence, Dave.
Absolutely. Torey, thank you for coming on to share your
thank
story.
You.
And I wish you and the Go Torey All-Stars nothing but the best of luck.
Thank you, brother. Have a good one.
Indeed. Everybody, for all you guys in White Plains that support Torey, go check out this documentary. And everybody from Holy Cross and other places, this is episode 47. Check it out on YouTube, IGTV, and Facebook. Stay blessed, stay safe. Peace.
Thank you, Dave.